Påske, part 2. My friend Brenton came to visit for 6 days and we went pretty hard. Despite my car still being at the mechanic, we managed to cover quite a bit of ground by pedal power. Not all hikes went to plan though, and on top of that I smashed my drone, little Johnny, into the side of a cliff again. First day we managed 2 hikes and 2 flights from Vollenstenen here in Fredbank. We charged off over the bridges in the afternoon. There was some cool fog around, especially up top. Second flight, my GoPro cracked the shits again, twice in a week. So we'll call that one the best flight ever. Next day the wind was all over the place, different directions and different strengths, every couple 100 meters up. So we chose to go for a hike up to Ritten. Really nice hike across the Ritten, looking down at Kvalvika beach. Super nice afternoon, epic sunset. Next day we had a small wind window in the morning to fly a mountain Meltdown. I was back at work, so it was an early start. Real nice, still crisp morning. We set off at about 4:30 on the bikes, still half asleep. We charged up the top. I was getting picked up for work at 7:30. Wasn't the best conditions, it was a little bit windy up there, just the top couple 100 meters, but still okay. It was a fun flight, but I'll definitely be back in better conditions to give it another go. It's nice to be sharing the stoke of flying with someone else after doing it solo for 5 months. It's been really cool. And I made it to work on time. I even had enough time for a shower when I got home and to make another batch of coffee. So I was pretty happy with myself, although really tired. Day before Brent left, the weather was a tad average, patchy showers. The wind was light, but it was variable, so we chose a hike close to home near Molstoya. We got up the top, wasn't looking amazing, so we sat on the cliffs watching birds soar for a while, and we got a little window. So we quickly got our gear together and got a little flight down to the beach below us. It's a nice way to round Breton's strip off to a Lofoten with a cruisy ride around the neighbourhood, short little hike and a cruisy flight. So the day Brenton left, poor fella, conditions looked really good to give Maltenden another go. The girl and I set off on the bikes at about 6 p.m. Got off to a pretty good start. Didn't really go that well. Do you want to be in this or what? You want to ride next to me?
Oh, he's doing good.
No? Oh, we're heading up Maltenden. This guy over here. It's about a 10-minute ride from home, hour and a half hike. It's about 650 or 680. Absolutely reeks riding through Ramberg with these fish racks. It's hilarious. We cruised into Ramberg to check out a couple of alternate landing areas. We ended up grabbing some ice cream in town. We got an ice cream and sitting down the beach for probably a bit longer than we should have. We pedalled off to the trailhead and we're both struggling. We had some pizza before we left the house and topped it off with a bit of ice cream. Not the best combination pre-hike. Halfway up we got ourselves into a bit of a pickle. There's a viewpoint that you can walk out on this little rocky outcrop and look over Ramberg. So I got little Johnny out to take some pictures and a couple of clips. And believe it or not, I smashed him into the side of a cliff again. I couldn't fucking believe it. I smashed little Johnny into the cliff. It's a bit of a tricky spot too. So yeah, he's over here somewhere. Bummer. We couldn't see him. I could hear him beeping. So I scrambled down the rocks and managed to spot him perched up on a little rock shelf. Poor little dude. Hey little buddy. Hey mate. Very, very sorry. Hey. You're getting yourself in a bit of mischief there, little Johnny. What a spot, eh? Poor little fella. I got him and I safely off the side of the mountain, but he needed some attention. A new prop and some snow removal. Little Johnny was airborne again. There you go.
Take off.
Attaboy, Johnny! So after chowing down ice cream and recovering a busted drone, didn't leave us much time to get to the top. The sun was nearly gone and there was a thick layer of fog rolling in. In hindsight, we probably should have just turned around then, but I was hungry to get to the summit. So we charged up there. By the time we got up there, it was pretty dark. The wind was funky and the realisation of how far we were from home really started to sink in. So I canned flying and started to walk down. It was tough going. The top 300 metres is, oh hey, believe it or not, in true Lofoten form, while I was telling that story, the wind picked up to about 30 knots and you couldn't hear a thing. So I'm wrapping this story up from Australia. More on that later. Top 300 metres of that hike is a pretty sketchy boulder scramble and it was more or less dark. We hadn't planned on walking down in the dark. We didn't have much spare gear, or any. We got about halfway down, we're both completely fried. There's a little flat section, we both laid down and we're contemplating staying the night.
Tough time. We got back to the bikes at the trailhead about 12:30 and we still had to ride home, which is normally a 15-minute ride, but that time of night it took us about 45 minutes. We got in the door about 1:30, both cooked and at each other pretty hard. There's a few lessons learned on that little tour. It was a fun one, even though we didn't get to fly. Anyway, if you made it this far, thanks for watching. Haven't been making many videos the past three months, especially for someone who said they'd make one a week for a year. But life gets busy sometimes, eh? We moved to southern Norway in June, living and working in a drop zone for the summer, and I hadn't worked that hard in years. But we managed a few trips away, 2 soaring trips down to Denmark, a couple around Norway, and a trip home to Australia, which has been really great. So there's plenty of videos in the pipeline. Hang in there, they're coming. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.